This is the Diary of a Lady Band Director podcast, brought to you by the Passion Is Network. Hello. I am so excited about this. Woo! This is a superstar night. Superstar night. Some of the best who's ever done it. And I'm just going to say, I'm so honored that y'all are spending your Sunday with us. We have years of experience that I only hope to get to. And we're going to start right on it because, they're not here to hear me talk. They want to hear y'all talk. I'm just here to soak it up. So we have a little icebreaker, and the icebreaker is: what is the best or worst performance you ever had in your musical career? You get to choose. I don't want to leave this because I know I'm gonna pick worst. I'm gonna be vulnerable, but the best and or worst. And we gonna go with the church finger. If you would like to go first and unmute yourself, and then we'll do introductions. Takenya, I knew you were gonna take the floor. Go ahead.
I can keep this real short, both for best and worst. So, my worst experience as a musician, the worst performance I have ever given was actually in church. And I was the only musician. So, I'm playing, and there were several hitches in my giddy up to the point where I like turned to the pastor and said, "I'm sorry, Pastor. I'm just going to start over." So, that was the worst. The best music performance that I've ever given was one of the bands I used to sing in Dallas. We were in a nightclub and we were doing this Bonnie Raitt song. And it's her "I Can't Make You Love Me." And it was like one of those magic moments where everything meshed and melded so beautifully together in the moment. Like there were tears. It was just one of those, those magical moments that are just unspoken, and it's buttery smooth. It was beautiful. So that's my best and worst.
The ones that make us cry. Those are the real ones, right? We sit there crying, can barely make it through the music. You just like touch, touch, touch.
I think that pastor was crying when I had that worst moment.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Anybody else want to go your best and or worst performance ever? I'm gonna break the ice. I see the think tank. Where's our Jeopardy music? My best. I'm gonna start with best. I got to conduct the college marching band that I was in. I went to Morgan State, and I finally got an arrangement on the field. And if you write, like Cybil would know, it's never. There's always a hit or miss of whether or not that arrangement makes it out the band room, let alone on the field. So it was Secret Garden. And he definitely don't let students write ballots. So that was already like a plus. And I got to stand on that very tall ladder. It's very tall. I didn't know. And conduct it. And it was just one of those iconic moments where, and I think I might have been the first woman to actually be on the ladder with their own music being played. So that was my highlight. It's on YouTube. It's there forever. My worst, this is a clarinet thing. I played saxophone too in grad school for one spring concert. I I grabbed the saxophone reed case instead of the clarinet reed case, and I had to play on those oversized reeds. It sounded like a kazoo. it sound, and I had to wait to intermission to like go get an actual clarinet reed, but I was playing on a alto sax reed. I sound like a kazoo, y'all. Like the whole thing, like a kazoo. I don't know if he noticed, but it was bad. He probably just thought I sucked. I don't know. That's mine.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. Um, First of all, hi, Dr. Bailey. Second of all, my best performance was probably my senior recital because I'm a clarinet player too. I conquered Aaron Copland's Clarinet Concerto, which was written for Benny Goodman. So that's a hard feat to do. So I think that was my best performance. I have two worst performances. One of them is Rose Bowl. I'm not going to talk about it. The second one is Rose Bowl is a sore spot for me. The one I will talk about is our very last Honda Battle of the Bands, which was in 2010. So we were doing the dance routine. It was a good show. We played Earth Song. Like, it was one of the best shows the March and Sound Machine had. And we went into the we made letters. I forgot what it spelled out. I don't even want to watch the video. And I was in the letter A, and the euphoniums, I'm also a euphonium player. We made the I guess the cross line, what do you call it? Crossbar to the A. And I blinked out and forgot my spot. So if y'all look up Honda Battle of Bands 2010, North Carolina Central. So there's the A almost looks like an H, or it looks like, I don't know what it looks like. And because I completely missed the spot. I was in the center and I was too close to somebody, and I realized that as we were sitting down in that spot, and I was trying to inch over, and it just, and my directors, especially Sam Rowley, will not let me live that down. Nobody will let me live it down. So, yep, my best and worst.
Volunteer. That's sorry. Undoubtedly, my worst was the first time. I'm a pianist, and as an undergraduate, I was asked to play with the string orchestra at my undergraduate school as a member of the orchestra, a continua part, and I'd never done that before, and I never had to count rests where I wasn't playing. As a keyboard player, you just play all the time, and I was lost. I didn't get to go to rehearsals either, so I was lost on every movement of every piece that we did, which was pretty embarrassing. Undoubtedly the worst. Taught me a lesson about counting. I don't know what the best would be. Perhaps some of my undergraduate accompanying gigs, or a couple of times I played with a cellist at our school, Timothy Holly, and we had some really in sync concerts a while back that were really moving, I would say.
Counting. And then we yell at our students too. It's happened to all of us. Let's see. Cybil, you got any? At least a best.
I was gonna say I could have a couple of worst. First of all, hello, Dr. Bailey and the wonderful Professor Stephanie Sanders. I would say probably the best would have been at Norfolk State, the graduate recital, where I had the opportunity for their choir to sing original composition, and to hear that come to life, all of those parts. It was one of those crying moments, but nobody could see me because my back was turned, so I could just. And then the worst would probably have to be in undergrad, where I thought I could switch to a new read before a big performance. And, my brain was hurting to try to get the notes out, but thank God there was a whole section, with me, but I never did that again. Marked them down and made sure I had the right read from then on.
Reads will do us all. And the clarinet players are like, yep, You get the wrong one, especially if it's saxophone. Yes, it's a bust. And I think and Shell, you said no. Okay, we're gonna leave you alone. I'm trying to see. Oh, Professor Sanders, you share it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I think your connection might be a little bad. You might want to come back.
Hear me? Okay.
We can hear you, so you
my
can just...
best
Nah, I think you can't hear you now. Yeah, you can come in and sign back on with that link. Well, while Professor Sanders is coming in, I think this might be a good time we can talk, a little bit about our guests, because that's why we're here. And I'm gonna put that ball in Cybil's court, because unlike you all, I've never had this many women professors. I didn't have any. Not that stayed around that, unfortunately. So let's introduce the wonderful ladies.
Okay, I was clicking on Lauren's unmute. That's why I wasn't unmuting. Once again, good evening, everybody. I will introduce the wonderful Dr. Candace Bailey, who I had the pleasure of meeting at school. She was my theory teacher and my history teacher. I wasn't a music major initially. And once I found out about this lady, everybody said, if you're thinking about changing to music, don't worry about trying to play games in Dr. Bailey's class, because you're going to get failed and you're going to have to wait a whole year to take that class again. So if you really want to be a music major, you need to make sure you sit in the front seat in that class. And it kind of, intimidated me a little bit, but I said, I want to try this. You know what I'm saying? Because it was interesting to know that a female was even doing this. So like I said, I had the pleasure of being taught theory and music history by Dr. Bailey. She also played on my senior recital. And she's very, very accomplished. I've looked up to her since then, follow her story, all the books she's written, ethnomusicologist, just world-class musician and beast, Dr. Candace Bailey. Yes.
Giving respect where respect is due.
I have to throw in that I will never forget the Christmas show that the students put on, and Cybil played me in the show, sitting on the piano, telling students they might as well leave and not come back, and come back next year.
The shade. Don't you hate it when your students impersonate you, but they're usually kind of spot right?
It was they all of them did a wonderful job. Everybody was right on, but yeah, that was good.
We have Miss Sanders back. Miss Sanders, unmute yourself and let's see if you can introduce yourself. Let's see if you're a little bit better. Might be still on the devil's Wi-Fi. That's what I call it when it starts to glitch. It's the devil's Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's still kind of glitching. Check the message for me, Miss. It might be your background. If you got a virtual background on, that it eats up a lot of your signal. So you might have to, hope you're not, exposed. Like we learned in Zoom land.
I guess you can't hear me well.
We can hear you now. But yeah, I think it's in and out. Well, yeah, I think it's in and out. So you might have to turn off your...
Okay.
Well, I'm going to move to a question. And this is the first question. Walk us through your schedule on a normal day. What's your normal day like, in music? And we'll go ahead with, Professor Candace Bailey. What's your normal day to day?
I have two types of days. I have my teaching day and I have my research day. Since I stopped teaching theory, I was able to get the schedule so that theory would be on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and history on Tuesday, Thursday. That way students wouldn't have overlapping theory and history classes in the mornings, because you probably all have ensembles in the afternoons. So my teaching days, falls are the worst. I try to get to school around 8, and I have a 9:25 class till 10:40, usually a meeting at 10:40, 11:35, class 11:35 to 12:50, class 1 to 2:15. And then I have a 3-hour graduate seminar that's tacked on at the end of the day, either starting at 2:25 or at 4:30, depending on which semester. I mean, different semesters are different. But I have 4 classes, 3-hour classes back to back, and most of them are pretty intense classes. So it's draining because it's, one after the other. But then I leave my Wednesdays, Mondays, and Fridays so that I can have student conferences, and then my research days. And this year I've been named the distinguished professor in the visual and performing arts at Central. So I have extra responsibilities. I'm the only humanities person on the research task force. We're trying to become an R2 school. So I have committee work and I have lots of research. I have 6 papers to get between now and the end of July, and they're all different subjects, presentations. 3 of them are in Europe and 3 in the United States. So yeah, it's working all day. I mean, I can go out and do my yard work sometimes, but then at night I'm going to be doing research because it never stops. But I don't want it to stop. So it's a catch-22.
Never, and I'm just walking into the collegiate level, and I only have 1 class, and I don't know how you managed. How many hours?
12. I teach 12 hours. Before I had tenure, I was averaging 22 contact hours a week. And because I was teaching piano, and as Cybil said, I was teaching theory. And I've been able to step back away from that. Tenure is a wonderful thing in many ways. But it came with, it has its other demands. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I teach 4 classes. 4 3-hour classes every semester. Most semesters, I do that.
I'm not gonna complain no more. That's my answers. I'm not gonna control it no more. I'm not gonna talk about my little 1-hour class.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna hush my mouth. I'm sitting in the corner and I'm gonna say thank you. I'm throwing my hands up.
Yeah, I've been at Central 23 years.
Woo. Hey, Miss Sanders, you right on time for the question. The question is, what's your schedule? What's a day in the life of?
Oh Lord, you want to know my real schedule? Okay.
Give us the good.
Okay, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Depends on what day of the week it is. Monday, my first class is at 9. I got a music education class at 9. Then I have lessons straight through till 2 o'clock. Then I eat lunch, and then I have symphonic band from 3:20 to 5. And then I leave, and then I'll go and either do rehearsal with either quintet or with the symphony, or I'll perform. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I start at 7:30 in the morning. Jazz band is at 7:30 in the morning. And we go from 7:30 to 9:30. And then I teach applied until 11 o'clock. I have a progressive harmony class at 11, from 11 to 12:30. Then I either have a meeting of some sort on campus from 12:30 to 1:30. Then I get to close my eyes and take a siesta for 30 minutes, and then I eat lunch. Then symphonic band, and in the fall is marching band, Lord Jesus. So it's from 3:20 to 6, and then we take let the kids go eat dinner, and then we do 7 to 8:30. And then in the evenings, I play on the side, so I either got a gig or a rehearsal. So I go straight to 10 every day. Yes, that's my life. I'm telling you, I live off of prayer and vitamins every day.
I live off of wine with a schedule like that. I'm gonna tell the truth. You see us grimacing, we're like, ooh. And you play still, and Dr. Bailey, you. I don't know if do you still play?
Oh yes.
I quit my church job this past summer because I had to. HBCUs, we don't have a lot of funds for research and travel. So I worked a church job to fund my travel to conferences and for my research and stuff. Since I got this distinguished professorship, I have ceased doing that. And so now when I play, it's basically helping friends out. I played a choral rehearsal a couple weeks ago because they needed an accompanist. And I might do some stuff coming up. But right now I'm taking a break from it.
Just learning that lesson.
I mean, y'all have really kind of put it back in perspective for me, because I was always seeing things from the student side. And even as a student, I was like, man, we here all day. But I kind of forgot that my teachers are right there with me.
Every day.
Y'all really put it back in perspective for me. Thank you.
And I think in school, like I know my students don't always see me as a human being with a life, and then professor wise, and we don't always see you all as having a life, like you have families, and we can be just as demanding of your time. Knock on that office door, we need help, it's your office hour. And I'm now just starting to experience it, and I have a different level of respect and appreciation for my college professors, because I'm sure I got annoying at some point, especially closer to my matriculation. That's real. We're going to move on to question 2, because I think y'all kind of answered the follow-up. Prayer and quitting things, and that's, I'm going to take that and write that down and make that my thing.
But I think, I don't know about Professor Sanders, but I also think it's important to have outside interests.
Yes, you have to. That's the only way, that you have to have a life outside of the university. And I love how you said that, Krystal, because I think I'm not a mother because I don't have any children, but I swear I thank my mother every day, because just like we used to say, mommy, mommy, ma, mother, mother. They say Miss Sanders. As soon as I come in the door, Miss Sanders, Miss Sanders. And if they mess my name up, Miss Saunders, Miss Saunders, Miss Saunders. And then even when I'm eating lunch, and it says on the door, clear as day lunch, I bring my lunch, and then they'll say, Miss Sanders, I'm so sorry I have to disturb you, but can you please so and so and so? And I was like, oh gosh. And then they say, when I get ready to go, oh, you getting ready to leave? Well, wait a minute. You know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start disturbing you guys when you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I'm going to come to your room, and I'm going to disturb you like you disturb me all day. But now ask me, I love them? I love them to death, because I think I probably got on my teacher's nerves as well too. But it's a good thing, but then sometimes it's a bad thing. So when it's time to go, I'm like the kids, deuces, and I'm out of there. And then for me, playing, that's my relief, because I had a gig actually today. I had a brunch I played for. It's a release for me. Symphony practice is release for me. So I get to see people. I get to talk in another language. I don't have to talk about anything else. And then, being in various organizations, that helps out a lot too.
It looked like you got a fan club. Miss Prof, you got a fan club. Eddie Evans, I know his real name. I know it say meet me on Twitter. I'm gonna call him Eddie because that's his name. Hey Eddie. Eddie said you the coldest on the instrument he's ever seen. And He misses your air fryer chronicles, and I personally do too. I miss those live videos because that kind of breaks the monotony too. So we appreciate. So we want you to go ahead and get back on that ministry. Um, get back on that ministry so we can see it. And we're gonna move to question 2, because we want to keep respect your time, but it's definitely these nuggets. We don't take them lightly. We don't take them lightly.
Honestly, for question 2, first of all, hi ladies, welcome to the show. First of all, Professor Stephanie Sanders. I'm sorry, see, I'm messing your name up like the kids. I've heard so much about you. I love the Spartan Legion. They're top notch, and I heard it was because of you, and it is a pleasure and an honor to meet you. And Dr. Bailey, hey, Dr. Bailey, one of the best. She is. Her classes, I'm gonna be honest, they're not easy, but she is one of the best professors you have, and if you do what you're supposed to do, she will have your back. Like, that's how Dr. Bailey is, and she has a wealth of knowledge. She can tell you what to do if you want to go one path or another path. She's been through it all. I know you cannot leave her department without knowing sonata form. And I know she worked with us with Shinkiri analysis. You can't go to grad school without knowing all that. So thank you so much, Dr. Bailey, for being so supportive. You are hard, but you're also what a lot of students don't know is that you're very supportive. So I just want to thank you. Now, here's the thing about question 2. I feel like you guys kind of already answered this. Oh no, this is you were talking about outside pressures. Okay, so have either one of you, I'm going to start with Professor Sanders, since Dr. Bailey answered the first question first. Have you ever experienced any pressures to maintain excellence in your current position?
Actually, no. But the thing about it is that I pressure myself. I want to be as knowledgeable as possible. I want to be in the know. I'm like a sponge, just like we ask you all to be sponges. I want to be in the know, and I never want to be that professor that they say, oh, Miss Sanders doesn't know what she's doing, or she's not hip, or she doesn't understand what we are going through and things of that nature. And I have to, if you push yourself, I think that permeates through the students, and they know how to push themselves as well. And you have to have a support system with things. And I think with COVID has proven a lot for that. And that's why I love Krystal to death, because during COVID, if it wasn't for Krystal and this technology, baby, I would be in. You see, I switched from one computer to the next because I said, oh, I can't have this delay. So let me go and get this laptop real quick. So you have to just stay up and abreast with things. I've never been to a point where I've had to be pressured to do that. Of course, they want you to, get your advance your degree and do all of these things of that nature. But as far as in my craft, no. I try to stay abreast with everything that's going on. And that's the only way that it keeps you fresh. Because when you start getting, when you start being mediocre, or you get a stalemate of things, then that's when you become obsolete.
There it is. They say that the best teachers never stop learning. And I think what you just said is definitely a good example of that. I do feel like the best professors, they always stay afloat. Even if they have to ask a student, I always think the better professors, they ask students, well, okay, how do you do this? And how, they ask how things are either how things are going with them, or what's the new trend, or what's new. We need more professors like you, because did I mute myself? Oh, that's embarrassing. So I'm going to start again. So yeah, good teachers, they never stop learning. and especially with the pandemic, you know, you really have to stay abreast of everything. We are in the technology age, and it's important for educators at all levels to learn what applications are out there, what programs they can use to turn their classrooms and turn all their classrooms into 21st century classrooms. We have to move to that. Otherwise, like you say, you become obsolete, you're stagnant. I, you know, live with my grandparents, and they like to do what they like to do. You know, they don't like to have help because they feel like if they stop moving, that's the moment where, you know, they feel like they're closer to passing away if they stop. So I understand it on those terms. So always keep moving, always keep learning. Dr. Bailey, same question. Have you ever experienced any pressures to maintain excellence in your current position?
Well, as Professor Sanders said, the pressures that I felt have come from me, and not from anyone else. As we all know, it's easy, unfortunately, to skate by in a lot of situations. And, you know, that does no one any good, right? So whether it be in my own research and what, you know, I'm working on now, I've got something due on Thursday and I'm not happy with it. It's bothering me. So I'm going to spend a lot of time this week trying to fix that. But it's also in teaching. My field, along with a lot of other fields, is really in flux at the moment. There's a lot of changing the way that people think music history and theory should be taught, what the focus should be. And I've been trying to really change the way I do music history at NCCU this year, but it's really hard because if we have time, I'll say last semester I decided to teach the American music history class from the point of view of Black American music and Black music scholars. Well, there's no one place where you can go to find that information. There's no textbook that has a lot of essays by Black scholars in it. So it's me having to go and find articles that I think will be accessible for sophomores in their first semester of music history. And it's really hard, but it is so worth it when the students, you can really see it in their faces. So, I mean, I guess there are people who don't get anything out of that. But I haven't felt pressure from anybody else to do it. It's just from me. And y'all know, those who know me know, I don't like to look out on bored faces. You know, I want people engaged and you know, it's song and dance. That's why online stuff's been really difficult for me. You know, I'm the kind of professor that walks up and says, Krystal, you didn't write that down, you know, and so, yeah, that's been hard. But to answer your question, only myself.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the pressures of time. You know, we all feel like time is slipping away from us. And again, the pandemic showed us that, you know, our time can be limited. And time is of the essence. Like if you want to do certain things now is the time to do it. And also, you know, people get older. We all have to face the fact that we're getting older. And to talk about your point about certain resources that aren't there, that must be a hard job to go and collect everything and to go to different places, whether it be websites, you have to go to archives, you know, go to different people, get your and a lot of them, you have to get primary sources for a lot of things that you're looking for, or find somebody, like look through a dissertation to see who actually researched it. So that's a lot to do. And we appreciate you for doing that. Hopefully I look forward to either the book or the website that you're going to release, or the essay.
Syllabus.
Yes. Yes. The syllabus that you're going to release, so everybody, not just the students, so people can have a reference to a particular topic, especially in Black music history, because so I'm a grad student at American University. I'm also a grad student at Morgan State University. Yes, I'm doing 2 masters. Dr. Bailey, we'll talk about it later. So
speaking there in April. American University.
Okay.
On Black women performers. Anyway, sorry.
Okay. Oh, I'll be there. So a lot of what I'm learning in my arts management program, a lot of these organizations, they're moving towards diversity, equity, and inclusion and access. And with that comes a lot of research, like, for example, in organizations like the American Symphony, the major symphony orchestras, a lot of them are hosting programs with African American composers. Back in October, I saw a performance by the BSO. They featured William Dawson, which is one of my favorite composers. And it was called Lost Voices. And also they're doing, I'm going to miss it. They're also doing hip play, the Black ballerinas that do the hip hop. They'll be featured that on April 3rd. So a lot of these organizations are moving towards that. So yes, thank you for both of your responses. What I want to do, I want to introduce Allison Hicks. Takenya, can you introduce her? Thank you for joining us, Allison.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to try to do this without crying. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me gather myself. Okay. So I know Krystal's like, oh my God, somebody she's unmuted. She's unleashed. What's going to happen? Okay. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Takenya Battle. I am the chief treble maker at Kenya's Keys Voice and Piano Studio, where we provide personalized piano and vocal instruction designed to help you unleash your inner superstar. And I help private music teachers find less hustle and more harmony in their music lessons business. Now, none of that would have existed without this lady that's over here in the Brady Bunch square. And her name is Allison Hicks. So a long time ago, many moons ago, way back in a little small city that you may not have heard of. Anybody ever heard of Dallas, Texas? I don't know, a little small town. All right, little small city called Dallas. I was in elementary school and my cousins and I wanted to all take the same class, and we decided to take Allison's piano class. So Allison Hicks is where she's the lady who gave me my very first piano lesson. This is where I first found out, like, oh, I actually like this stuff. I think I might have to check it out. So without further ado, Allison Hicks, the great, the one and only, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Okay. So, Allison, here's my question for not just you, but the rest of our illustrious panel here today. I read you guys' resumes and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Okay. So Ms. Hicks, first of all, thanks for coming. Second of all, were there any skills that you attained during your matriculation in college that you were able to then apply in the professional realm as an educator? Were there any skills that you attained as a student that transferred over to you as an educator? Unmute. Hit that mute button down in the bottom corner. There you go.
Okay. Sorry. As a piano major, and as you know, Takenya, you have to work with everyone. And you have to, you're a soloist, but you're also the accompanist. I never could say that correctly. The accompanist, and you are expected and required to accompany strings, brass, vocalists, and get along with all those different personalities, all those people. And but not as a spotlight. You are the quote accompanist, and it is a joint performance, but it's it's really, you are there to support them through their juries, their recitals, and so going from there to work as a music educator in the public schools, having to work as a music teacher, we work with every single faculty member in the building. And we do the PTA program. So we were in close contact, not just with the 20 kids that the individual classroom teachers have in their class, but we're in contact with the 600 plus students and the parents that we have. So it's, I think that's probably the biggest thing that I carried over, is how we have to, how to interact and be able to work with everyone.
Some people I could have left on the side of the road. I'm just
Yes.
being honest. So yeah, it would have been all right. You know, like if you see them hitchhiking, their little thumb out, I would have like driven on by, not once, but twice. But you know, I'm a work in progress.
Respect.
Same question to you, Prof. Sanders and Dr. Bailey. What was it that you were able to take over from your college matriculation to your professional life as an educator?
I think being proactive, networking, pushing yourself. I still got a little procrastination every now and then, but those things, and then also being knowledgeable of your literature, that's what's going to help you. And it's so funny that Candace said, you know, with teaching with music history and with literature, everybody had to go through it. And you have to make it as interesting as possible. And if you think about it, it's the popular stuff at the time, you know. So if you make it like how they deal with Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat, and if you make it interesting like that, like a feed, then that's what makes it interesting. And every facet of music is so interesting. But the thing about it is that will help you is if you get that band literature. If you get that band literature, and if you expose yourself to stuff, be involved in different ensembles and things, and then the more music that you learn, the more you will have a bigger library of a selection of music of what you can and cannot play. Also, if you involve yourself in conducting different workshops or going to different contests and things, and you hearing other people play and you hear them perform, I was like, oh, okay, all right, I'm gonna put that in my arsenal, in my file cabinet memory of what I want this band to do. And that's the biggest thing that carries over, you know. And then also being on time. You have to be on time. To be late to be on time is to be late. And I got a lot of folks that's always claiming to be on time. They are always late. So you have to deal with those kinds of things. I think those are the main things that I pull through, you know, to today's date.
I would say generally discipline and standards. The discipline to do what needs to be done and just do it and get it, you know, get it done, get it out of the way. The discipline to study when you're supposed to study, to practice when you're supposed to practice, you know, all that sort of thing, and to plan ahead and don't waste time all the time. I mean, it's okay sometimes. And then standards, just, you know, don't accept less than the best you can do, and possibly better than what you can do, is something that I really developed as an undergraduate and has really stayed with me through the years. And as several people have said, and then never stop learning music. You know, in the 80s, yes, I'm that old. I was all about learning all the classical music I could learn. I wanted to know all of it. Well, now my thing is world music. I really love world music and learning as many different things that are going on now, as well as historical, but plus, you know, pop, world music. I love to learn more about that. But I'm also find myself now going back and learning or revisiting things that from the past. So, you know, it goes in cycles, what we learn, but always learning and listening to something. Sorry about the kitten.
Kittens are wholly allowed. I find that my professional colleagues, kittens on the stage, I find that a lot of my colleagues who were doggies too. All I have is a kid in the corner. I don't know if they count. I got a kid in the corner. She over there working on something. I don't know. I don't know. But I find that a lot of my colleagues who studied more heavily in the classical realm, it's not till way later that they figure out that they feel like they missed out on an element. They feel like they missed out on a genre. They feel like they missed out on the pop, that they feel that they missed out on the world experience. And so when it comes to like learning something like jazz, there's this big hitch in their giddy up trying to understand it. When for me, I can see that they're so related. Classical and jazz are like so related. And that's not something that they can always directly as easily see.
I've been lucky enough to be teaching a graduate research and writing class in jazz, and it has really made me learn more and more, not just listening, but also reading a lot of good scholarship too. So it's been great.
I pass my baton to another.
I was going to say to Kenya, having the honor to study with both Miss Sanders and Dr. Bailey, I can truly say that that discipline part and that standard part was also evident in their teaching, because neither of them accepted anything mediocre. They made you do it again. You weren't leaving until you got it to where, like they said, it was your best or maybe even better. So I sincerely appreciate that, and I'm working on instilling that in my students as well. So I'm just saying, I'm proof.
You're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it because I got your kids. You're doing it. You're doing it.
She said the proof is in the pudding.
Krystal, you're distorted.
Am I distorted?
Yeah.
No.
It's like we can hear you, but it sounds like you about 50, you're on the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. It was so good.
Girl, I don't know what happened. We can move on to the next question. I think first of all, what a pleasure it is for you guys, the professors that are represented here, professors, instructors, and educators represented here, to see the legacy of the music that represented here in this platform. You know, can you guys just speak on what that means for you to see those whom you've instructing others today?
Look, I'm excited to see Miss Davis. I haven't seen her in so long. And the thing about it is that I'm only 51. I'll tell people my age. I have no problem with that. And because I know I look good for 51. But first of all, second of all, I think that I wish there were organizations and podcasts and consortiums and different things for ladies, because when I was growing up, we didn't have that many. I would hate going to Midwest and it'd be 4 of us, and then we would get together to talk to each other, or you go to conventions and there's maybe 3 or 4 ladies, and oh yeah, and just like this summer, and I'm proud to say that I'm a wonderful member of the Association of Black Women Band Directors. I wish I had that connection when I was growing up, because I didn't have that, and I luckily had a couple of men, to help me, but I've had some strong women as well, and a strong mother and a grandmother and a great grandmother that pushed me to do those things, and they accepted no less. And that's one thing that I loved about Cybil. When Cybil was in school, Cybil broke the barriers. Get up there, get on that podium, girl. You wrote that daggone piece. We're gonna play that. We're gonna play this piece. We're gonna do that. And it's just wonderful to see Miss Davis and her kids, and it makes me feel good, because I think the fruits of our labor are now permeating through you all, and you all can talk about the same occurrences, the same instances, and then also we see a little bit of ourselves in you. So that's one thing that I love about this profession. I'm gonna stop talking.
I'll jump in. It's thrilling to see students who go on and do well. I've kept up with Cybil off and on through the years. Basically, Cybil's kept up with me. I will say she's reaches out now and then, and I say, oh, and we talk about X, Y, and Z or whatever. Lauren, I haven't seen in a while, but it sounds amazing. You saw my jaw drop when you said you were at 2 universities at one time, and I somehow have become the person in our department who keeps up with what a lot of the students who are in graduate school and who are teaching at the university level and so forth are doing now. And it's a point of pride to see success stories. And it's really important to me to see women in instrumental music who are succeeding. I wish we could have more of that from some of our ensembles, but the band seems to have done a really, really good job. And it makes me so happy, proud.
You guys should feel good, because your students are coming to us. So that's one great thing as well too. Yeah, so it's just amazing. I'm gonna stop talking. All right, Allison.
Yeah, Allison, whenever you're ready, it's totally fine. It's like free form.
Yeah, finding my students. I've only taught, not only, I need to. I taught elementary school for 31 years, and started with piano, and then went into general music. And so the number of students that I've taught, it's a very large number, but the ones that I knew at the time, the ones that were really, really special, and Takenya was one of those. And seeing where she is now, and seeing it, yeah. It's hard to put into words. And yeah.
I get you. I'm just a little verklempt at the moment. Just a little verklempt, because it's not only was I her student, things kind of came full circle, because once I graduated, I came back home to Dallas, and now it's like Miss Hicks is not my piano teacher anymore. She's now my peer. Because when she said she taught for 31 years in the public schools, she was still there when I came back. Mm-hmm. She was there. She was still there when I came back. So she became my peer in that moment. And when she became my peer, I was like, do I call her Allison? Do I call her Miss Hicks? But it was just what a joy to be able to collaborate and to share and to continue to learn now as a teacher with my teacher. Priceless.
I want to chime in on that just because that transition from like
Krystal, you're gonna have to get this close to your device for us to hear you.
Oh Lord, y'all I'm talking like a toddler on their gramophone. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
I'm gonna use a teacher voice. Okay. Yes. Yes, enunciate and say it from your chest. Going from student to teacher, with your teacher is weird. I'm just gonna say it's weird. Like you don't know how to address them because you're trying to be respectful, and then they go, no, just call me so and so. I'm like, no, I just can't. Like I respect my elders. I'm not trying to, be disrespectful.
That's just how you were raised. You were just raised that way. And that's a good thing. Nothing wrong with it. I tell my students after I see you walk across the stage, when I know I've checked off that you graduated, then I can halfway have you call me by my first name. But you can still call me Miss Sanders, Professor Sanders, whatever, Saunders, whatever. But it's okay, Krystal. Because I still, look, to me, I still can't call Mr. Adams. I can't call him Paul. Because he was my teacher when I was at Jackson State. I could never call him Paul. He said, call me Paul. I said, I can't do that. I can't do that. And this is my colleague. You see what I mean? So I understand. I do understand.
Me too. I still have a hard time calling my dissertation advisor by his first name.
I just think my mama's going to pop my legs if I don't get it together.
And that's really, I think, there's respect, but there's fear. There's fear attached, but reverence in a good way. But sometimes fear too. But it's just a sign of respect because you still honor them in that way as a position above you. And I don't necessarily think, I don't think the next generation has a lot of that sometimes. And so I don't want to lose it because I want to model that for them as well. That's my 2 cents. I know I got the toddler face. I'm about to have my nose all the way in the screen, so I'm back up and be quiet.
No, it's okay. I think with this generation, they're a little bit more laxed, and it's not as structured to me, just a little bit. And so, like, I'll have students that say, "Hey, Miss," I said, "No. I don't hang with you. I don't hang with you. I'm either Miss Sanders or Professor Sanders. That's what you call me. Now, if you come in my office, I can talk to you. But other than that, no, you address me just like I address you in the same manner." And you just have to teach. You have to teach the students that because sometimes they don't get that at home. So you just have to teach them basic decorum, And just like you were taught about is respect, it is respect. Because you want someone to respect you when they get older.
It starts way back at elementary. The kids, they address their teachers as Miss. And almost all of them just answer to that. And and that's, I know the kids got tired of it, but I would either not turn and answer, or else I would turn around and said, "Yes, girl," or "Yes, boy." And, and they'd be like, "What? But you called me Miss. I have a name." And, but it starts way back in elementary school.
I find that they tend to call the women Miss and the men doctor, regardless of who has their doctor and who doesn't. And I always set that straight and point out that problem.
Look, Candace, I hate when I go on trips and they'll go to the men first. I'm the director.
Oh, yeah.
No. Great job.
Look, we were just at me and Krystal went to the HBCU Band Director Consortium, and they addressed the women as Miss Doctor. That's I heard it, and it wasn't like a mistake. They say Miss Doctor such and such, And
did you correct them?
Okay. No, it was during the banquet. Like they were on the mic and said that.
See, I'm going to say this. And I know, like you say, some things are unscripted. I'm just going to put it out there. You got to realize we're still in an old boy system. They have this mentality. They had a mother that they came out of, but they still can't respect you enough to be on their same level. And sometimes it's a problem for them. And then sometimes they're also threatened by what you do. So they're going to put you in your place by telling you Miss, and won't give you your proper status of being doctor, professor, or what have you. And it happens all the time. And I hate to say in 2022, it still happens like that. But the point of it is, as women, we have to work twice as hard all the time to prove our worth. And it shouldn't be like that. We all went to the same school. We all put our pants on the same way. But that's how we have to, interact. Now, sometimes people are not as they don't have those occurrences, which is great. But for me, I still have to deal with that. And this is 2022, and but sometimes it's funny to me because I like to prove people wrong, and they say, "Oh, you
Yeah,
could,
like
yeah."
that sign that says, "Go ahead, underestimate me. This will be fun."
I know that's right.
Yeah, I know, and I don't know about the rest of. I know about a couple of you, but I'm also a small person. I'm not
See,
even
I'm not.
5'2", and people tend to want to think of me, particularly more when I didn't have so much snow on the mountain, as a little
Oh, I
girl.
got snow. It's called color.
Well, I don't have I ain't got time for that. But I just, I'm upfront with everybody anyway, but
Mhm.
I just tell them, I remember some of my first meetings at Central going in, and they expected me to be a secretary for the committee. And it was all of them. I said, just because I'm the only woman on this group, do not think I'm going to be the secretary.
Oh, they do that. Can you take the minutes, Stephanie? No, I cannot. My pencil does not work in this meeting. It doesn't work in this meeting.
No.
My pencil doesn't work. It's so funny. I'm the opposite of you, Candace, honey. I am 5'11". I am a voluptuous, tall woman. And I do have a presence when I come into the room with my mouth and with my stature. And you're gonna respect me either way it goes.
Well,
so you can get it the easy way, or you can get it the hard way, but you're gonna get it.
I have a presence, I think. Even though I'm little, I have a presence, and I don't have any students not. I don't have any issues with respect or anything in this classroom.
Yeah,
none. But it is the older men.
Oh yeah,
that are the issue.
Oh yeah.
Y'all are giving me life right now. Y'all sincerely saying all the things that we kind of say behind closed doors in an open space. I'm totally here for it. I think Anshul had a question.
Oh, hello, panel. How you guys doing tonight? Hello to, you just said her name and I just forgot it. Dr. Candace, because it's not on the screen.
Sorry, Bailey.
Dr. Bailey and Dr. Hicks, thank you all for coming, and I've enjoyed listening to you guys. So I can see why your former students speak so highly of you, because you guys seem to be very awesome. And I already knew Professor Sanders because I met her at Norfolk. And just last week I was saying she was the very first female that I saw in a collegiate director position. And just to see her, on the podium and the command that she's had with being a director, that was something that I had started to strive for, because I was like, that's what I need to have, and that's what it's going to take for me to get in a position like this. So yes, I always looked up to Professor Sanders, but I just hate that I didn't reach out to you as much as I did. But anyway, I'm gonna stop
it's
talking.
Never too late. It's never too late.
Get to our question. For you ladies, can you identify one or two musicians, or one or two music educators that impacted your decision to pursue music education or performance?
I didn't pursue music education or performance. I pursued musicology, although I was a performance major as an undergraduate, but only because it had the most electives and I could take the musicology courses so that I would be better prepared for graduate school. Right. So, but there was a teacher who really, she didn't push me, but she opened a new door to a new style of music, which was early music performance. And it was new to me, and I thrived in it because it's a little bit improvisation, and it was, you had to know your stuff, which appealed to me. Not saying that other people didn't have to, but you had to read figured bass, that kind of thing. And so it kind of checked a lot of boxes for me, and it got me really interested in musicology. And so she would be one of the people who really influenced the way I went with what I was going to do. Her name was Carol Marsh. She lives in the DC area now. She's retired from UNCG.
Okay, thank you for that. Professor Sanders or Dr. Hicks?
I actually have 3 women. I have a lot of men, but I wanted you asked me about the women, and I'm going to tell you these are some 3 important women. The first woman I had, her name was Laura Hunter. She was the professor of saxophone at Texas Southern when I first moved to Texas. When I first moved to Houston, she was the professor of saxophone. If you watch the movie Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio, you know the saxophone you hear at the beginning? That's her. And I had never heard a woman play classical saxophone, less enough to be a saxophone, playing. And I was like, oh, I want to be like her. And it is so funny. About maybe 6 years ago, my students found her for me. She's actually an environmentalist in the Senate in California. Ain't that crazy? My other 2 teachers were my bassoon teachers. When I was in school, I had a gentleman by the name of Timothy Tall. He was actually he worked at, I went to the high school for performing arts. And if you can tell, I'm a talkative child. And so to keep me busy, they gave me a bassoon. And they told me, they said, if you can put it together and play 3 notes for me, I'll pay for your first 4 lessons. Well, we didn't have Google and Siri and Alexa and Cortana and all of these wonderful women that help you out to do the research. And we had Encyclopedia Britannica and the Dewey Decimal System in the library where you had to go through the file cards and all of that good stuff. I'm telling my age. But anyway, so my first teacher was Juliet Markovich. And she was awesome. And I loved her to the point that she used to wear yellow Converse. I bought yellow Converse. That was my first pair of Converse because I wanted to be just like her. So I didn't care what color of clothes I wore. I had a yellow pair of Converse. I went to college with my yellow pair of Converse. Okay. And then my other teacher, she was my second teacher in high school, but she ended up being my bassoon teacher in graduate school. Marilyn Chappell. She's actually retired now. And she actually, she's in Indiana. She moved back to Indiana. And those 2 ladies, I had just never seen a force of bassoon players. And they just took me everywhere. And this is what you want to do. This is what you want to ask for. And you need those type of teachers, and especially strong forces of women in your life that push you for that. And that's what all of our jobs are, to do that for the young ladies now, because these kids want to do some of the same things. And I say this to my students all the time. There are 3 people in life that watch you. 2 you will find out immediately, and 1 you will find out years later. And those 3 people, you have impacted their life beyond belief. So you always have to, it's almost like wearing Miss America pageant. You have to always be on par at all times, because you never know when people look at you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, and you can learn from all of those experiences. So those 3 women were instrumental for me.
For me, it was my first piano teacher, which was actually my mom. And then for a year, and then the lady, Mrs. Juanita Evans, across the street. And I took piano from her until we moved to Texas when I was in high school. And but my love for music, I was never pushed, or I can't say I was not supported, but because the support was there, but I didn't really have any strong music teachers except for the beginning piano teacher that I had. And then, of course, when I got into college, I had some very strong support. And but the other one that just really helped me was when I found out after many years of playing piano, classical music, I found out I could play by ear, and I was pushed to a point by a friend of mine that said, you can do this. You don't have to. And once I did that, I've not looked back. And the joy that I find in music now, it just does not even compare to what it was before I found out, yes, I really can do this, taking that leap. And so, and her name was Becky Tracy, and she's actually a fiddler, and she plays Irish music and Quebecois folk. I play a lot of folk music, Irish, and I got to play a whole weekend with her, dance weekend, and I got hired as a pianist and to back her up. And I came in with my chord charts, and she said, "Oh, do you know blah blah blah?" And I'm fingering through my chord charts, and no. And she's, "Oh, well, it's in D." Well, I don't cuss very often, but I save it for very special occasions. And well, I cussed the blue streak inside at that point. So this is going to be a long weekend. And she believed in me, and she said, "No, you can do it. I know you can do it." And I did. I played that weekend without a chord chart, and it became the joy of my life. It really did.
Wow, what a release in being set free from the chord chart. And I think I know we've all had different paths on our musical journey, but for me, somebody had to put me on to the chord chart because all of mine was ear. If it wasn't Miss Hicks, it was ear. And I guess that's because, like, with my growing up, I was voluntold that I would now be the pianist at church at the age of 15. I'm like, what y'all mean? What y'all talking about? What you mean? I've only taken lessons in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. What do you mean? And, it was kind of encouraging to hear your grandmother, when I'm doing good, grandma would be like, she's singing and clapping along. But when I'm messing up, she's sending up a prayer to the Lord, talking about, "Help her, Jesus. Help her, Lord." So, I mean, like, no pressure. Either my grandmother's going to go with praise or she's going to go with a prayer. So, release from the chord chart. Looks like we've got Janae Martinez coming on in.
Hi, Ms. Davis.
Hi, Janae.
Personally, I just want to say that she's one of the biggest influences in my life, especially when it came to music and education. When she came to Spencer, a lot of people abandoned us kids. Nobody really wanted to look out for us. And when she came in, she turned the whole program around. When I say because of Ms. Davis, that band ran that school, that band ran that school. Like, we were having more support from the alumni. People were coming to the games more often. People supported us during concert season. Like, if it wasn't for her, I don't know where I would be in life. She taught me self-respect, pride. It's okay to laugh, and it's okay to be a girl and do more. You don't have to settle because you're a girl. You could do more. You could play a trumpet. You could pick up a different instrument and learn. It's okay. It is okay. Do your thing, focus, and don't let nobody tell you, A, you can't do it because you're a person of color, and B, because you're a woman. That was very important. I love the example that she showed to us, because this lady was so amazing. Like, when things wouldn't come through on the financial end, we're in Columbus, Georgia. She would drive in her own personal car all the way to Mobile, Alabama, just to pick up stuff for a game the next day. And will be on time for that pep rally like ain't nothing wrong with her. And I'm just like, I love that. I love that, because she showed us when you're dedicated, you're dedicated. And that's it. Don't cry, Miss Davis. We love you. And Crook!
Oh, it's so different to hear it than, I read it all the time, and y'all share how y'all memories, but just to hear somebody say it, like, I didn't even realize the impact, You know, I was just doing what I would have wanted for my own kids, or what I would have wanted from my own instructor. And you just never realize the impact that you are putting on these kids when you just put them first, you know, and keep that standard of excellence as the bar for them to meet, and not accept the mediocrity. I used to tell them that all the time. I don't do mediocrity, you know. So I thank you for chiming in, and I so appreciate those words.
You're so
I
welcome,
mean,
because I'm telling you, they wanted us to fail. They didn't think we were going to get ones in festival and things like that during concert season. And one thing about Miss Davis is, okay, it's cool for marching band, but guess what? You gonna learn these scales, you gonna learn this, you're gonna play in concert season, because it's all not about our marching band. You have to do concert band too. And you know, a lot of us are really successful, and a lot of her kids went to colleges. Now they're band directors, and a lot of them are officers in the military and stuff like that. So thank you, Miss Davis, for always being there for us and always stepping up when nobody else would have.
Oh, you are so welcome. Oh, thank you.
And to all you ladies, I love what you're doing, because you know what? As band directors, they don't understand the sacrifices that you guys make, taking time from your families, doing parades and performances, and the until you get it right practices where you practice it with the hoodlights of your car. Okay. They don't understand those sacrifices that y'all make. Y'all have families too. Y'all have husbands too. Y'all have lives outside of the band room. And a lot of people don't respect that. And a lot of people don't know that y'all don't get paid to do marching band. That's your free time that you could be doing something else. So I respect that. And thank you very much, ladies. I love your panel, and I think it's good to hear from a woman's perspective.
Thank you again, Janae.
Bye, Miss Davis. You take care, ladies.
Just open the church. And the doors of the church now.
Girl, Krystal,
Your sound.
you sounded like you in a tin can with Oscar the Grouch. I don't know what's going on over there.
I'm gonna have to sign up for my phone as usual. I'll be back.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, I'm trying to read lips. That's not my forte, but you know, I always take the helm when there's a hitch in the giddy up, and we all have hitches in the giddy up. So, Miss Davis, that baby just laid like lots of pearls into your lap.
She left me speechless. I wasn't even expecting that. Yeah, I'm just speechless.
So keep walking your walk, keep talking that talk, keep on your path, keep shining your light, because they are paying attention. They are watching. They are, you know, I think I said earlier, you have to see it to be it. And a lot of times we didn't always see it, but we are it so that somebody else can see it and be it. I think we had another question up here. Let me see. Let me tip tap up in here, up in these comments. Ooh. No.
Yep.
Lauren got it.
Yep. I have the next question. That was so beautiful. Oh my God, your students love you, and you're so humble. I've only known you for a few weeks, but you're so quiet. You're so humble, and show you deserved all. Like, if a student says it, like, they tell the truth before anybody. You deserve all of that, and that was just so beautiful. So my next question to our guest here, Dr. Hicks, Dr. Bailey, Professor Sanders, what are your thoughts on the representation of women in the field of music education today? Actually, I'll start with Dr. Hicks. Dr. Hicks, let's see. So I'm going to ask again, what are your thoughts about the representation of women in the field of music education today?
Did you say me? Okay. I heard doctor, but I couldn't hear the last part. You're very kind, but I'm not. I'm just Miss. Thanks. So when you said doctor, I thought you were saying somebody else. Sorry. I am in, at least in my field, in the lower elementary, it is actually a predominantly woman profession. But there does seem to be a growing number of men in that area, and which I have enjoyed. I've enjoyed seeing more men in that area. When I was in college, up in high school, college, well, not in high school, I didn't have any music in high school, but in college, it was just men, except for the choir vocal. Yeah, all of them were men. And so, to be honest, I don't know where it is at this time. But from what I can see from this panel, that there are much more representation now than when I was in college. And that is really, really nice to see. And the recent even more seeing the conductors, seeing more female conductors now coming to the forefront, and has been across the news, on the national news, which just never would have happened. I don't think we would have seen it in the news even. So seeing that that's making national news, I think is a step in the right direction.
I agree it's a step in the right direction, but I'm tired of steps. And since the 19th century, women have been doing music education at certain levels. But I think I'm happy to see I want to see it so it's common that it's a woman conductor, that it's not, oh, look, that it's just, yes, of course it is. And that women are in first positions and first chairs, and that women are the arrangers, and that women are the composers, and that women are in charge of the companies that are doing the publications. I'm tired of just a representation. It's just been long enough. Why is it? That's my thought on it. How's that?
I can agree with you, Candace. For especially in band, it's a shame that you have a lot of girls that are in band, but they don't encourage these girls to take up that field as a profession, or to almost think that you are not worthy enough to do that. And I have a problem with that. I can count on my fingers, how many women band directors, and then we get smaller when we talk about African American women, especially on the collegiate level. It's only a few of us. And then to either be in the realm of being an assistant or associate or being the head director, where our numbers are still getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And it was told to me, I hate to say it, by a gentleman, they said, oh, it's all of these women are just coming up. I guess we have to give them a chance. Well, you should have given us a chance a long time ago. We probably would have taken over things and been better organized for you if you would let us do that. But I still have a problem in this day and time that, because as far as in the different facets of music, I think they're striving, because I love to see women conductors, and to get musicology and to get the music theory and the history. I love for them to be in that field. But when you start talking about like band, or if they want you, if you're going to be in music education, oh, I think you should be an elementary school or a middle school band director. I don't think you should be a high school band director. Like you can't, take on the realm of doing that. And then sometimes, I hate to say this too, and I know some of you ladies have to deal with that, because I had to deal with that. Sometimes you have some men that don't want to take any directives from a woman. They have a problem. Your administration, you have it. Sometimes you may have it with your assistants or your staff. You may have it as well too. And that's a hard problem, and And it's not to, because if you become, my word is aggressive, sometimes they say, oh, you're the angry woman, or you're the aggressive woman. No, I have to take charge because I have to. If I talk in my small common voice, you'll take that for granted, or you'll take it as weakness, and it's not weakness. And it was so funny how you were saying, Allison, you don't cuss. The ones who know me, I cuss almost every day like a sailor. I'm just doing really well tonight on this broadcast. But I use those wonderful nouns and adjectives to them. Now of course in the public I got a different persona, because you have to what the kids say, we have to code switch. We code switch all the time, and I know how to do that very well. But the thing about it is that it's just so hard to see women try to be successful, and just facing challenges, that they won't give you the opportunities. I love, there's a couple of pages on Facebook where they show, well, they have a lot of women forums and things of that nature, where they talk about their experiences with band and how they have just looked over and had principals and had administration to tell them, I just don't think. I'll even give you my example. When I first started working at Alcorn, when I worked at Alcorn, I came in as an assistant. Coming in as an assistant, my department chair, which was a woman, had a problem. Are you sure that you can be able to handle students? I've been handling students for 5 years prior to coming to see you, so I think I can do well. It was so funny. After the first year, she just had to see what I had to do, and she pulled me in the office, and she said, Stephanie, I have to apologize to you. And I'm like, I thought I was getting fired. What's going on? And she says, I have to apologize to you because I second guessed you, and I thought that you couldn't do that. And I said, well, if I made the finalist list, don't you think that I was worthy enough by just everything that I have as far as my credentials and also my recommendations from everybody that you call? That should be enough. And then you have to just, the proof is in the pudding. So I am dismayed. I am dismayed. And then when we talk about on the various levels nothing wrong with being an elementary school teacher, and I agree with you, Miss Hicks, that Allison, that there's a lot of women as far as music in elementary school. When we start getting to middle school and high school, the numbers start getting smaller and smaller, and then college is smaller and smaller and smaller, and they think that you either have to do choir or you have to do a certain thing, or you play piano, or oh, you do band, can you pick up? Or yes, oh look, oh, I won't even talk about, when I was in middle school, I hate to say this, I had a racist and a sexist band director. Loved him to death because he was a great teacher, but all the women could not, you either had to play flute or clarinet, you couldn't play anything else. And then being a Black person, all the boys had to play tuba, percussion, trombone, or baritone because of their lips. So if you had thin lips, oh. And then when I moved to Texas, I had already played saxophone for a year. Can you play another instrument? No, I can't. My mama bought this saxophone for me, and I'm going to play this saxophone. And then it was so funny. He apologized to my mother, in 7th grade. And it's just so crazy that we still have to deal with those kind of stories in 2022, but we have to.
And if I can jump back in,
jump on back in.
There are other fundamental problems. I'm on 2 search committees right now, hire faculty members, and one of them, we had 45 applicants and maybe 3 were women, and the women applied didn't meet the criteria at all for what we were looking for. So where are the women who are being encouraged at the undergraduate level to do the graduate work, to do this PhD or DMA work, to be able to get these positions? So, it's a thoroughgoing problem.
Yes, I'm glad you guys touched on a lot of things. And first, we're going to start with Dr. Bailey's issue about her looking at candidates, because somebody just asked in the chat, is it a shame or is it a lack of interest? I am just asking, is it the older generation? Really look at the population of band members. Are there more male participants? Because that could be the ratio as well. That's a good question. Go ahead, Dr. Bailey.
I can't speak to the ratio, but if it is a ratio issue, then that should be addressed as well. I've mentioned this before in context of jazz bands, that why do the women who do get into the band, why are they never the first? Where's the support? Where's the interest in their career that we have in the guys? So it's not just an issue of the numbers that get there, but it's what's the culture? Is it a boys' club? If you're gigging, do you always ask your male friends because you're a guy, and do you ask your guy friends to come because you're buddies? What effort are the guys making to do this? I mean, don't get me started.
Wind it all the way up. Wind it up. Yes, let it loose. Because these are questions that need answers. Because where did all the women go? I don't even know if that's the correct question to be asking. Where did the women go? Because we were all there in music ed. We were all there in college, male, female. Where did everybody go? Did everybody? I can just say from my personal experience, it was never offered to me to pursue a study beyond piano and vocal instruction. When I asked about, well, can I learn sax? Can I learn drums? Can I learn trumpet? Can I learn? Oh, we don't do that. That's not part of your track. That's not part of your track. Howsoever, the state of Texas says that I must be able to teach them all in order to be a certified educator. Can I do it? Yeah, I can get you started, but don't ask me anything beyond basics, because that's all I got. But I know that piano and I know that vocal.
Can I chime in? I have a friend that another band director that did the data and did the research that was part of her thesis. And the research has to do with we are more inclined to participate when we see ourselves represented. And so if you don't see yourself, that's what, that cliche, representation matters. So if everybody in my elementary school band, all the boys play brass and all the girls are put on woodwinds, encouraged, then when we become directors, even us women, we tend to go with the trend of how we were trained, whether we know it or not, and men as well. And so we don't create an interest because we've kind of already earmarked that participant a certain direction, sometimes unknowingly. And that's why we talk about implicit biases, because you're not always deliberately trying to steer that way. And the clarifying question was, is it a lack of encouragement? It's a lack of encouragement that affects the participation. When I had an all-girl band and the only people that could play those instruments were from one population, I had an influx of girls on percussion and girls on tuba, because there was nothing in the population that said this is taboo. The whole population was the band. And so when we erase those biases that we kind of have, or we actually have to really take a hard look at why. And I think sometimes the scapegoat is we don't want to really ask why. It's really easy to say that girls don't want to do it. It's hard to say why. And my own girls told me why none of them wanted to ever go out for drum major. And their answer had me on the floor, because it's an all-girl band, but the marching band was combined. When we were just an all-girl band, they were fearless in doing anything. Once I combined it, the things were a little different. And I brought all the leaders to the table in my office, and what they told me made me want to cry as an educator, because I had to own some fault. They said, do you see how they treat us? I said, oh. And I was oblivious in my own band director world. They said, they don't respect us. We tell them to do something, they laugh it off.
We tell them that, we discipline them as section leaders, and it's like pulling teeth out their mouth. And why would I want to be in front of them? And I said, oh, that hurt, because here I am, quote unquote, in what we call the perfect situation, where you'll feel like you can't do anything. But when we opened that gate showed up and closed, and it was closing, and I wasn't even aware that the gate was closing. I just put applications to try out to be the drum major on the table, and not one of the leaders touched it. And so retraining, I had to do leadership a little differently that next summer. And I had to say, everybody can be a leader. And I'm going to train you on how to be a leader first. And then from there, you can decide whether or not you fit the bill. And what I found is a lot of them had a skewed vision of what being a leader looked like. And society screws it up for them. They say, be loud, be extroverted. You have to, even if you're wrong. And for a lot of ladies, we don't want to be wrong. That's why women in music really strive to be strong and know everything. Like a lot of the professors have said today on the screen, we have to know it all, because we know we're going to be challenged on a different level. I don't know any collegiate band director without a doctorate right now. I can't, that's a woman. I can't name her, but I can name a lot of men. And that's telling too.
Well, they encourage Krystal. They encourage the men to go and pursue that.
They
want you to be in the background.
Right. That's what I was getting at. Yeah. We've got to encourage the women to pursue the routes that will make them undeniable candidates.
Well, what a wealth of knowledge and just passion I'm hearing in the voices, and I'm catching it over here. I'm just catching it. Y'all can see the glow from what's being caught. I wanted to go on to the next question, but before I did, regarding representation, it's unfortunate that in addition to everything that's been said, that we do have issues with woman to woman, because there are so few women. We are looked at like unicorns, and some people enjoy being a unicorn, so they don't tell those other women the routes to be, get to where you want to get, because that'll take some of my shine away. But we have to understand that wealth is knowledge. There are hundreds and thousands of men out here doing their thing. Okay.
Cybil,
yes, ma'am.
I want to tell you, the reason why some women do that is because they're just as insecure as men. They're just as insecure. And of course, I agree with you. Sometimes people want to be the only one. They want to be the only one in the realm. But then other than that too, they don't want to, just like Krystal talked about, alluded earlier, they don't want to strive for those things. They don't want to account that they are deficient as well too. See, when you are deficient, you will put a mask up. Oh, I am the grandest. I am the greatest of them all. And see, if you got a good support system, and if you are a giving person instead of a receiving person all the time, then you can be open for, first of all, criticism, second of all, encouragement, and then thirdly, assistance. And it's hard. And it's sometimes hard for women to take criticism if they're not doing things right. Because see, oh, she just talking about me because she just wants to be like me, or she wants my job, or I've heard it all. I've heard it all. And I hate to say it, in the last 2 years, I've heard a lot of women that say, oh, I want Miss Sanders' job. Come on, baby. I got experience for you. I know what I'm doing. And I think I've been kept here for that reason. Now, do it. Now, unless you are just exceptionally better than me, go right on ahead. Come on, I'm ready to play the game, but I shouldn't have to play the game with you. If anything, I would want to encourage you and support you, just like if you support me. But that's the problem, Krystal, that they have. Women are just as insecure as well. And I want to put it out there too. And the thing about it is that, and this is funny too, this is another side. You can be a girly girl and be a band director. You can be girly girl. Because like when you go on that stage, you can be just as cute as you can be. Because they're going to see you behind anyway. Because that's all they see. They don't see your face until you talk. Okay?
Like the women basketball coaches.
Yes. They can see you. They can see you. And they can hear you. And see, my thing of it is, I don't have to open up my mouth. Because if the kids do well, they're going to say, if it's a good band, who is the band director? Aha, I got you. I got you. So, but those are the three things, Cybil, and I do understand that. Yeah, we are unicorns, but you know what? I'm supportive and encouraging, because sometimes people have different situations that they can be able to do better than me. And if anything, that would encourage me to do better. See, that's the thing. If you're an open person and not a jealous-hearted person, yeah, if you got that position. And this is the thing too, when people get their positions, was it politics? Or was it experience in your profession that you got this job? Now, I'm gonna be quiet. Networking is one thing, and who you know is one thing. Get in the door, but can you stay in the door? That's my question.
Thank you for that. Before moving to question 6, I'll say it while you're here, Ms. Sanders. You are one of the main reasons that I'm able to, I think, pull music off of the page and make it, more than just the notes. That's one thing that I definitely learned from you. You can take just a plain sheet of paper with black and white notes on it and just make it pop. Whereas the kids say, pop out, sis. And I do appreciate you for that, because I just do. I didn't realize it till I got in front of the band and I said, wait a minute, Miss Sanders does that. Wait a minute, Miss Sanders does that. So thank you so much for all of that. Forever indebted. And going on to the next question, if any of you knew what you knew now, then what would you tell your younger self regarding preparation for the field you just went into?
I'll start. I would say, and don't don't take me wrong with the Cybil and Lauren, but I would say I could aim higher. I could aim higher. I could have aimed higher. I didn't with family, but now looking back, I could have done things that I didn't think I was able to do earlier. And I wish I had done some things earlier, fellowships and maybe different positions and so forth. Things are all coming to me now, but I'm not that far from retirement. So.
I'm assuming that we all done Miss Dr. Hicks, you have the last statement. Can you hear me? I'm back in it down. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be Miss Hicks and Miss Sanders, because they haven't answered. But Dr. Bailey, I feel like you should be in certain positions. Yeah, I felt that answer. Being a student.
Well, I will say I was offered certain positions and I said no.
Okay.
I didn't want to play some of those games that we were talking about earlier. I am not interested in, I'm just going to do my thing now. I am not interested in that. I was offered a couple of levels, but I did it once and I saw how I was even as chair, if two men wanted something, they always got it. Even if I said, no, the rule was this. And they said, and the dean would say, well, we'll just go with Dr. So-and-so. And so the next time the dean came around and said, you should be chair, I said, I'm not doing it because you didn't support me. I mean, I just tell him,
Okay.
not doing it because you didn't support me in my decisions. And therefore, I'm not going to be at your beck and call on Mother's Day or whatever. Not doing it.
Right. And I was trying to understand. I understood your answer without you saying that, because a lot of us feel like you should have been chair, because I'm sure you can run this. Our music department is prestigious in one area. I think it has a lot. It could use a lot of improvement as well. But yeah, for me, you would be my top candidate. And that's all I'll say to that. Miss Hicks and Prof. Sanders. Sybil's question: if you knew what you know now, what would you tell your younger self regarding preparation for the field you went into?
I think for me, I think that I should have. For me, I guess with things that are going now, I wish I would have gone straight through school, no matter what, because you have a lifetime to work. And I took some things because of personal situations. But as far as I love what Candace said about aiming high. I aimed high. I aimed really high, and I know some things that I should have been a little bit more selfish. That's my word. I should have been selfish to do those things for myself first. Like they always say, when you're on the airplane, you put your mask on first and then you assist someone else. I assisted everybody else and I didn't assist myself first. And so that's one thing. And that's what I should have done. Now I've been blessed. I've been truly blessed. Now I know, just like you, Candace, I have taken some. I have been the candidate for some jobs, but some people just downright told me they didn't want a woman in the position. And then, second of all, I won't talk about the pay scale. They didn't want to pay me, and I refuse to go backwards. When I was 30 years old, that would be something. But I am a 51-year-old woman. I'm not going to take just bread just for a title. I don't need a title. I don't need a title. Second thing, if you can't prove to me, after the fact, you know what, you should have been the head person, or you should have been, it's okay. It's okay. Now, personally, have I been angry like a lion? Yes, I have. I can say that. But the thing about it is that I think the Lord, I'm a praying person. I'll say that. Let me preempt to say that. I am a praying person, and the Lord has put me in positions for things. And I've been blessed to do a lot of things with the position I am. I know with being the head director of bands, I wouldn't be able to play anymore or be able to play and perform as much as I do. The other ladies know I perform all the time, and I mean all the time. So I know that would stop me from playing, and I think that's my one. I guess I've been blessed to do everything, to do the music ed thing, to perform as well too, and I love the position I am. Do I think that things could have gone another way? Oh yeah, it was 3 instances where I think it should have gone the other way, but you know what? I think that it didn't happen for me. And it was a blessing for me in the end. And at the end of the day, I know what I can do. I know what I'm doing. I'm assured of myself, and I'm going to stay assured with myself and support others, because there is somebody that's going to be after me. And I tell my students all the time, anybody can be replaced. There was a band director before me. There will be a band director after me. So the thing about it is, why don't you put somebody in place that's going to be qualified and ready to do it? So I'm going to do my best while I'm on this living earth to do that. So, so that's my perspective on things.
I think it's a situation of, and I don't know if everybody is a person of faith. Man's rejection is God's protection. You never know. If you were in a certain position, you could be dead now. People are dying at their jobs over stress, and more so than ever. So I think you ladies are more than, I think all of us here know that you ladies are more than capable of doing more. But the thing is, you guys are doing what you're called to do, and that's enough. Especially for the amount of students that have been influenced by you and taught by you. Ms. Hicks, if you knew what you knew now, then what would you tell your younger self regarding preparation for the field you went into?
I think that, like both of you said, the self-care is how to better take care of myself to be a better teacher and to be to be able to do so. But another thing is the amount. I don't remember any training having to do with being there emotionally for the students. How much today, and maybe it was earlier too, and it just wasn't talked about and not done. But how much I'm often was as much a counselor, a parent, if not more often than a music teacher. And having the training, having some more help with that would have been extremely helpful. And I think I've always been a rather empathetic person, so I think it came easier for me than many teachers. I think a lot, but I still could have used a lot more to know what I was getting into and to be to have the tools to help so many of these children. I know I said I taught for 31 years and all of them were in Dallas ISD. And so, and all the schools were in low income areas. And it just, yeah, I wish I would have had more in my tool chest. I gave what I could, but I wish I would have had more in my tool chest.
I think when it comes down to it, a lot of educators, they're fighting wars that they didn't start. They are recruited for situations that was a lot higher than their pay grades. And, Miss Hicks, you were, I don't want to say a victim of that, but how you're feeling now, that's an effect of that. And that's why we appreciate teachers like you, like Professor Sanders, like Dr. Bailey, for giving, not just giving your knowledge, but giving extra of yourself. I know on last week's show, I think I discussed about how band directors, they're like our second parents. Music teachers are like our second parents. We spend, like a high school, we only have like one semester. We have a year with our English, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade teachers and professors in college. We only have a semester with them. But with band directors, it's 4 years or plus, depending on when you graduate. Don't worry, I was one of those too. But, there's a special relationship. The music world is different altogether. It's unique. I remember watching, what was the musical Fame. They said dance, let's see, singing is the hardest there is. Dance is the hardest in the world. And the music teacher said music is the hardest of them all. And that, I resonated with that. And part of that is the relationship that you develop with your students. So you know, if nobody else says it. You know, we appreciate both of you, all three of you. I think Dr. Bailey had to leave, for all that you've done for us. You see how we fawn over you. We didn't even have anybody for Angela. Somebody called in to let her know how they felt about her. So clearly, like you said, Prof. Sanders, the proof is in the pudding. Like, we respect you. We thank you for being in that field. We thank you for being one of the few women that we know that's in the field, that's going out there and helping us out in more ways than one, because this is not easy. It's not just about music. So we thank you.
This was a lot. And in a good way. Oh my God, in a meaningful, organic, vulnerable, appreciative. Also, I mean, our music teachers really saved our lives. Like, there isn't, like, it's not, it doesn't, and we're gonna take gender out of it for a second. Keyword for a second. That they shaped us into better human beings. That's so important. And a lot of the things that are going wrong in the world, the consistent music will always make better people. Music teachers will always make better people. Even the bad ones make better people. That's just so powerful. Some of our experiences are not all positive with our band directors, our music teachers, but then that lesson shaped us. Oh, when I get a band, I'm going to put girls on tuba so they know it's possible. I'm going to put boys on flute. I'm not going to judge them for that. I said a second, right? I said I was going to talk to you. I'm going to call them what they want to be called. We honor the human beings that come in that room, my God. And the fact that we all are fighting a war that we didn't start, that's powerful, Lauren. But we have to be very careful not to engage in combat with each other. We're going to keep this space holy and sacred in that way, that we are trying to make each other better from the screen. The professors and the doctors and the music teachers and everybody who listens, all of this makes us better. This reminds me so much of that conversation between Baldwin and Angela Davis, that vulnerability to say we hurt too, you know, and it's not ignoring each other's hurt, it's listening to it. That's what this was about. This was always my goal with this, is that we would just listen, you know, disagree, okay. But first, listen. So when we leave, we have a different palate. We have more vitamins, vegetables on that plate that we can take back to our kids and say, hey, I was thinking about this. And sometimes that's us realizing that we sometimes malnourish people from our platform, right? I don't want to malnourish anybody. And we're here to check each other too. You know, that's what communities do. So, I thank y'all. We at the 8 o'clock mark. I'm still in Atlanta, but I want to say thank you for doing this with me, not for me, with me. If you listen, you're doing this with me, not for me. And I just want to say I appreciate every last one of you and all the music teachers that just make better people, man. That's all I gotta say. I'm trying not to cry. I'm not even crying. Y'all gonna get me. Y'all not gonna get me today. I'm fighting allergies. My face puffy. Thank you, Alana. Whew. But I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate and respect every last one of you. And let's just keep listening. That's all I got. Any closing?
I was gonna ask the two of you that are still here, is there anything that you wanted to leave the audience with, the viewers with, anything that you wanted to share of your expertise, your experience, any small nuggets you just want to be that last thing that we hear today?
I would say stay encouraged. Um, Tomorrow is not promised. That's what's on my earmark when I send emails. You have to live, laugh, and love. And tomorrow is not promised. And dealing with COVID, this has exposed many different mental and physical problems people have had. They've put under the rug, and you have to live your life to the fullest. And that's one thing that I've learned. And if it's things, that's why I switched over just so I can see. I didn't know, with the comments and things of what people have been saying. It's this is a forum for women, first of all. Um, Sometimes, and it's not a thing to say that men don't experience these things, because I know you do have men that experience things and get looked over as well too. But sometimes when you're the minority of the minority, it sometimes hurts. It hurts sometimes. And you have to just stay encouraged. We have to support each other. And um and the thing about it is that you have to be vulnerable at times too. You have to be at some point in time. If you don't know what's going on, seek that knowledge from someone, and but then be open enough too to take the criticism, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, just like a filter, you have to filter those things out, because sometimes people don't have good intentions for you, because they don't want to see you succeed. But in your heart of hearts, you have to still be that type of person to lead an impact for these students, because you don't know that one thing. And it doesn't have to be a person that's in music. I love seeing my students who are doctors, or nurses, or in the military and have high rankings, and anything that they strive for, you can apply you can apply music, because music, you got discipline, dedication, hard work. Those apply with anything. Like I can tell anybody, you can really be a teacher of anything. But ask any other professor, can they be a music teacher? No. I don't know science that well, but I can read a little bit, and then I can do a little bit. But if you can't read music, you can't tell me nothing about music. So you have to affect these kids, because they're soaking them up. And then we have to encourage each other. That's why I love this forum. And I thank you, ladies. I thank you. I love seeing your smiling faces. I love to hear your encouraging words. And I want you to keep going on and doing what we're doing. And I'm not calling myself old, so I don't know about all that. But I want to stay young too, because you all make me young. You make me young because
You look good, Miss Lady.
Thank you, thank you. That's called prayer and vitamins. That's what it's called. It's called prayer and vitamins. That and hair color. And so you have to do those things. But I want to tell people to stay encouraged. Stay encouraged. Do your best. And if especially for those that are in music, strive for the highest heights. And sometimes if you're limited or challenged, then that's when you have to go up and beyond to get to know this information and to be the excellent person that you should be, whether it be a music educator, music historian, a musicologist, a performer, any facet of music. If that's what your passion is, since you say the show is what your passion is, if this is your passion, you got to eat, breathe, and sleep this stuff. This is not coming easy. And it's not afforded for us to come easy. So we have to work hard to strive for that. So I'm going to be quiet.
Miss Hicks?
And there it goes. Sorry. I am. That's hard to follow. Can I say ditto? Ditto. I want to say, I know, Takenya, you invited me to come and share. But what I just learned and experienced is you just never stop. You never stop learning. Just being here tonight and listening to all of you and the shared experiences and those that weren't, some that were not shared, as I'm not a band director, but the life experience it really touched me, and just I'm very just want people to know it's never too late. Even if you are out of school and are on a different career path, my goal with my children, I tell them this up front, was I was not there to make them professional concert pianists. I was there to bring music to their lives and to hopefully enable them to bring music into someone else's life, that they can experience, be a music appreciator. So if you can do that, and yeah. Words are not my best.
That got me a little teary-eyed. I'm a soldier. I don't be crying. But
Back it out.
Yeah. So we have aim high, tomorrow is not promised, and never stop learning. I don't think there's anything left to say.
Been me.
I want to thank you ladies, for inviting us to this program and this forum. Because if it were not for you, people would not know us. And you all are the shining lights and the shining rays out there in music ed. And I love it. And I want you to keep moving forward. What'd you say? Because tomorrow is not promised. Hello? So I want you to strive your best and do best. Do it for me. Do it for us. Because Allison got me crying over here. I'm just trying to hold it back. You just can't see the tears up close. But Allison got me. Because she's passionate about that. Enough to teach you, Takenya. And now you're at the realm and you're doing it. You're striving it. Krystal, Cybil, Lauren, and Miss Davis. I love you, ladies. I love you personally and professionally. And I want you to strive to higher heights as well as anybody else that's on this feed. You do your best in music ed. Will you always get the accolades you should get? No. But you work hard, because there is a higher person that looks out for you and knows what's best for you. And just like you know what's best for those kids, there's a person higher that knows what's best for you. And you keep striving forward and doing your thing. And I want to thank you, ladies, for inviting me tonight.
I'm about to bring out the tambourine.
Oh, I said Battle. I said Davis. I'm sorry.
I'm about to get the tambourine. We about to take up the collection.
I'm going to Friday. He about to go in the car and cry, ain't he? I'm about to go in the car and cry. But I ain't even mad to say it, because it's all out of love. And this is, why is that tambourine so little? It's the world's smallest tambourine. You stole that from children church. You give them back to tambourine.
You gotta do it like Mr. Brown. You got.
Wait.
Yeah.
You're nut. I gotta let us go. But I let us go in love. I love every one of y'all. And thank you so much for making kind of a dream for me come true. Like, for real. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gone. Thank you.
Deuces from ATL.